So early access for the War Within has released, and if you haven't been following the content you're actually able to do in the early access for this expansion, you're pretty much only able to quest, level up, and do normal dungeons. So the primary focus of this 3 days of early access is just going to be to level up characters, whether you want to do that through questing, to follow the story, or you just want to spam dungeons, or go do anything else. That's pretty much all this early access is for. So in this video, I want to go over the best ways currently to level up in early access. Now, because of this early access period is pretty much just about leveling up, questing, following the story, I would recommend go take your main character or whatever character you're going to level up first and just follow the main story of the game. Whether you're someone that actually likes to follow the story or you just want to get through the quest, I would recommend you at least go complete that main story because that will unlock adventure mode. So that means you'll be able to start doing world quests. You'll be able to get all of this other open world content. That also means your alts will all have access to that as well. So make sure to go and do that first. And if you're somebody that cares about the lore, cares about the story at all, just follow the story. You're not going to be behind anybody. You can't really gear up right now. So just follow the story. You could even go do a bunch of side quests to learn more about all of the stories in the new expansion. But if you're someone that's already done that, or you just care about being optimal, we definitely have that covered in this video. Now, if you're just looking for what's the absolute most optimal, it seems to be to just spam run normal dungeons with other players. Make sure you're not doing follower dungeons, because with follower dungeons, you can't get like the random queue rewards you get from queuing for random normal dungeons with other players. And that's where the majority of the experience is actually going to come from, that completion reward. And it seems that running these normal dungeons, you're getting on average like 50% of a level each one of these dungeons. And if you're doing dungeons and you get low level players that haven't leveled up a bunch yet, that are really geared from Dragonflight, you'll be able to do these dungeons, depending on which dungeon is, in like 5 minutes or sometimes even less. I think on average, my dungeons were like 5 minutes when I was on a lower level character that's geared from Dragonflight, or if we had someone else that was able to do that as well. Also, if you're still playing a lower level character doing these dungeons, if you have any of the strong on-use trinkets from Dragonflight, for whatever reason, they're absurdly strong compared to the content you're doing. So make sure to be using any of those trinket actives on bosses, because you'll be able to just absolutely decimate bosses with them for whatever reason. And even if you're a DPS playing alone, you still should be fine. I've been queuing since right when the expansion went live, and my queue length for DPS has been on average 2 minutes. It's been ridiculously fast the entirety of the time. I queued right before I was making this video, and it still took like 2 minutes. I think it was actually like a minute queue for DPS. So even if you're DPS, you're still going to be fine. You're not going to have to worry about like 10-minute queue times or something like that. That may change on official release in a couple of days, but right now in early access, queues are fast for everybody. Now, if you want to break from doing dungeons, or you just want to do some other stuff, or if you also want to increase your renown with all of the different factions in the War Within, the best way outside of queuing for dungeons is probably going to be a mix of doing side quests, because a lot of those are also going to be able to give you a renown, and also doing all of the world quests or all of the side objectives. This also means you'll have to have one character that has completed the main campaign, so you can get adventure mode, so you can start doing all the world quests and stuff. So a mix of world quests and doing side quests, that'll be giving you renown, that'll be giving you XP for each completion. And then those side objectives that are spread throughout all of the zones, they look kind of like little stars, but these are the common side objectives. They're usually a bit longer than normal quests, but they usually give more experience as well. So you can mix those in anytime you get to them, do those will give you a pretty big chunk of experience as well. And while this method will be slower than just spam running normal dungeons, getting like 5-minute dungeon runs, this may also be more enjoyable than just spam running dungeons, especially if you're someone that likes story or the lore. There's a lot more side quests in this expansion, and a lot more of the storytelling is actually going to be done in a lot of these side quest chains. So if you care more about story, you'll probably want to do this. Then just completing any of those side objectives or world quests you come across is going to give you even more experience, and And doing all of this, like I mentioned, will increase your renown for all of the different renowns. Renowns are also warbound wide this expansion, so you'll be able to keep getting additional rewards from doing that and just progressing that. And again, if you care about the story, we're going to have a more endgame story to unlock through the renown tracks. So this is definitely another really good way to level up alts. This is something I'm personally going to be doing. I already went through and followed the main quests of the game, and I took my time to follow all that story. Now I'm going to start doing a bunch of side quests on one of my alts to learn all of those smaller stories, because there are just so many side quests. Now, no matter what you choose to do, you will also be able to increase the experience you're getting specifically on your alts, because if you haven't heard about this new system, basically anytime you get a character to level 80, you will earn an achievement. So the first character you get to level 80, you'll get an achievement that'll increase the experience of all of the characters in your warband by 5% all the way up to level 80. So you'll just level up 5% faster, and this achievement stacks. So when you get a second character to level 80, all of the characters on your account will have a 10% increase to the amount of experience you earn. And this seems to cap out at 25%. So if you're going to also be leveling up a bunch of old characters, I would recommend you level up one character at a time. Get one character to 80, jump to a new one, get that one to 80, jump to a new one. Don't get like one character to 75, then jump to a new one, and then jump to another one. It's going to be much more efficient to get a character to 80, new character, character to 80, new character. So I think those are going to be the two main ways to efficiently level up in the War Within. Obviously, spam running those dungeons, like I mentioned, is going to be significantly faster. It seems like spam running dungeons is actually faster in this expansion to get to max level than any previous expansions. It's ridiculously fast because the dungeons seem to be tuned quite a bit less than normal for some reason, and the experience you get just seems to be absolutely crazy. So you're definitely going to be able to get a ton of characters up to level 80, especially through this early access period before we get some more ways to start gearing up. But that's all I want to go over, so thanks for watching.